I'm just gonna say it. This is the best beginner sourdough bread tutorial you'll ever see, and here's why. Today I'm teaching you sourdough the training wheels way, the way I wish someone had taught me when I was starting out. No confusing jargon, no complicated techniques, just the simplest, clearest path to baking your very first loaf of sourdough. If you're here because sourdough still feels overwhelming, or you're holding your starter thinking, I have no idea what I'm doing, this is the video for you. This is sourdough with training wheels. Stripped down, beginner friendly, and totally doable. Now I have lots of other step-by-step tutorials on YouTube where I go through every single step of the sourdough process, and those are perfect once you've baked a couple of loaves and you're ready to understand the why behind everything. But this video is just for you if you're making your very first loaf. It's simple, clear, and nothing confusing. Let's get going. All right, for your very first loaf, we're gonna keep things as simple as humanly possible. There's a lot of different ways to make sourdough bread, and this is a pared down version so that you can have a little bit of success on your first loaf. So here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need your flour, and we're using bread flour. That is what I recommend everybody use to make their sourdough bread. So we're using bread flour, we have our water, we have our sourdough starter, and we have our salt. Now, if you have a sourdough starter and you're like, I have no idea what to do with it, I have another video that walks you through exactly how to take care of your sourdough starter. So I'm going to go ahead and link that, and you can watch that one and it will tell you what to do with your sourdough starter. But for this recipe, you need your flour, water, sourdough starter, and salt. And what we're going to do is add them all at the same time, which is a little bit different from how I normally do this process. I normally do something called an auto-lease, but we don't want to make it too complicated. This is your first loaf. We're going to make it easy. So you do need a scale. That is like one thing with sourdough bread that you absolutely need, because the amount of water and flour in your recipe, small adjustments can make a big difference with how difficult it is to actually handle the dough. So you do need a scale. And I know some people are like totally against having a scale, but for sourdough bread, it's just one of the things that you need. I happen to love this one, but just make sure you have a scale. So we're gonna use 350 grams of water. We're gonna use 500 grams of bread flour. You don't need to remember this because the entire recipe is linked down below with my beginner's sourdough guide that walks you through the entire process, and it's got the recipe, of course. So I'm putting in 500 grams of bread flour. There we go. All right, that was right on the money. Okay, and now I'm gonna add my sourdough starter. You need 100 grams of active sourdough starter. This one's good and bubbly and ready to go. Don't stress out if you end up with like 110 grams. That's totally fine. It's not going to cause a problem when it comes to your starter. So 100 grams of active sourdough starter, and then we're going to use 10 grams of salt. Perfect. And to make this process even easier, we're going to use our stand mixer. Yes, you can use your stand mixer to make sourdough bread. Why not make the process really easy? Okay, so I've got my bowl here. I'm going to put it on my stand mixer. And then when you do this, you're going to want to make sure that you use the dough hook. Okay, if you don't have a stand mixer, you can do this by hand. It's just a lot easier with a stand mixer because there's a lot of mixing involved in sourdough. So I have all of my ingredients added into this bowl. It's in my stand mixer with the dough hook on. I'm going to mix this on speed number 2 for 5 minutes, okay? And really, we wanna mix it for the entire 5 minutes. And this is one of those things where you're gonna have to trust the process, because when you're done with this, the dough is gonna seem really soupy, but it will come together, okay? So speed 2, 5 minutes, and then about halfway through, I'm gonna stop the mixer, scrape down the bowl, and then I'll keep mixing. All right, the dough's been mixing for about 5 minutes on speed 2. I'm gonna take it out and show you what it looks like. Now, don't panic at this point. You might be thinking the dough seems kind of soupy and really, really loose. That is totally normal, okay? After this step, after we've let it mix for about 5 minutes, let me kind of show you what this dough looks like. You can see it's pretty loose, it's really sticky, but we're gonna cover this dough and we're gonna let it sit for 30 minutes, and that is where the magic happens, okay? This flour is gonna start getting hydrated by all the water that's in there. It's gonna start coming together and it's gonna get really smooth and strong and elastic. So we're gonna cover this dough for 30 minutes and then we'll come back and we're gonna start doing our stretch and folds, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, our dough has been sitting for 30 minutes. Let's see how it looks. All right, it's already starting to come together. What we're gonna do now is what we call stretch and folds. Now, if you've made bread with commercial yeast before, you were kneading the dough. In sourdough, we don't do that. We do something a little bit more gentle, and that's called a stretch and fold. So I'm gonna show you how to do a stretch and fold. So dough's been sitting for 30 minutes covered. I took the cover off. I'm gonna get my hand a little bit wet because sourdough is sticky. It's just a sticky process, so be prepared for that. I'm gonna take my hand, I'm gonna reach into the bowl, I'm gonna reach underneath the dough, I'm gonna grab it, I'm gonna pull it up and fold it over. And then I'm gonna turn my bowl a quarter turn. I'm gonna do this again, pull it up, stretch it up, and fold it over. Turn your bowl a quarter turn, stretch it up, and fold it over. One more quarter turn, stretch it up, and fold it over. That is called a stretch and fold. Now, normally you would do 4 rounds of that. So that was 1 round. You'll cover your bowl, let it sit for 30 minutes, and then do that again in 30 minutes until you've done it a total of 4 times. But because we're doing this the easy way, we're gonna just do that twice. So we just did 1 round of stretch and folds. I'm gonna come back in 30 minutes. We'll do it 1 more time, and then we are done with the dough for now. So it's been 30 minutes since I did my first round of stretch and folds, and now I'm gonna do my second and final round of stretch and folds. Now, like I said before, in some of my longer videos, we'll actually do 4 rounds of stretch and folds, but for now, 2 rounds is totally fine. You're still gonna end up with great bread. So once again, I'm gonna reach down into the bowl, grab a section of the dough, pull it up, stretch it, and fold it over. You don't wanna pull so much that you tear the dough. So once you feel the dough starting to resist, then just stop and fold it over. Give your bowl a quarter turn, stretch it up, and fold it over. And here's the last one. Stretch it up and fold it over. Now that is 1 full round of stretch and folds. It was our second round of stretch and folds, and we are done. What I like to do next is transfer my dough into a clear container like this that has straight sides. The reason why I like to use a container like this is because if I leave my dough in this bowl, I won't be able to tell when the next step is done. The next step is bulk fermentation. This is kind of like proofing your dough. And I won't know when this is done if I keep it in this bowl, because I want this dough to bulk ferment until it's double in size. And it's really hard to tell in a bowl like this if the dough has doubled in size. But if I put it in this container, because this container is clear and this bowl has tall straight sides, it's going to be very easy for me to know exactly when this dough has doubled in size, and that's when bulk fermentation is done. So there's a lot of little nuances with bulk fermentation, but for a new baker, here's what I want you to know. Once your dough doubles in size, bulk fermentation is done. Now, how long is that gonna take? It's really hard to tell because it could take 4 hours, it could take 6 or 7. It depends on how warm your kitchen is, all right? So that's kind of the big thing. If you've got warmer dough, it's gonna bulk ferment faster. Cooler dough bulk ferments a little bit more slowly. So it could take 4 hours one day, 7 hours the next day. Okay, I've got my dough in this container with clear sides. I have it covered, and now I like to take a dry erase marker and then mark on the side of the bowl where my dough is, and then that'll make it really easy for me to know when this dough has doubled in size, and I'll know that bulk fermentation is done. So we're gonna leave this covered here, and I'll come back in a few hours and we'll see if it's doubled in size, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, this is what your dough is gonna look like when it's done bulk fermenting. Now, let me take this cover off for you. This is the line that I marked on my container, and you can see that this dough has doubled in size. That's all that we're worrying about for our very first bake. Now, when that happens, you're gonna notice a few things. The dough is gonna feel soft and airy, kind of like a giant marshmallow. And you can actually see all along the sides of the container that there are little bubbles. That means that the dough is alive. There's definitely things happening in there, okay? The top is domed and it's kind of pulling away from the edges a little bit. And then when I shake this container, it's light and airy and the whole thing will jiggle. Let me show you what that looks like. So you can see the whole entire mass of dough is moving when I do that. And that's a good sign that bulk fermentation is done. But for your first bake, again, just make sure that the dough has doubled in size and you're gonna be good. So bulk fermentation is done. I'm gonna take this dough out of my container and I'm gonna show you how to shape it. We are making this process as simple as possible, okay? So I'm gonna take my dough out of the container. I'm gonna put just a little bit of water down on the surface because that will help the dough from sticking. And I'm gonna get my hands a little bit wet. And then I'm just gonna reach in and I'm gonna take this dough out. Now sourdough is sticky, that's just part of the process. If you've ever made bread with commercial yeast or store-bought yeast, it's gonna feel a lot stickier when you're working with sourdough than when you've made that bread with commercial yeast, and that is totally normal. You haven't done anything wrong, okay? Now, we're gonna pre-shape our dough and then we're gonna final shape it. But because this is simple sourdough with training wheels, the pre-shape is just gonna be me pushing the edges under with my hands. And if you ever feel like it's getting super sticky, just add a little bit of water to your hands. Not a ton of water, just a little spray, okay? And now I'm just gonna push the dough under with my hands. I went all the way around, all 4 sides, and I just pushed the dough under. That's it. Now I'm gonna let this sit for about 15 or 20 minutes. And the reason why I'm gonna let this sit is because it's gonna form a light skin on the surface of the dough. And we actually want that. Now we've had the dough covered for the entire process, but for now, we're gonna leave it uncovered. When I come back in about 15 minutes, when I touch this dough, it's not gonna be sticking to my hands because it'll have that light skin on it. Then I'm gonna flip it over and show you how to do your final shaping so we can put this in our banneton basket. So I'll be right back in about 15 minutes. If you like what you're watching, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I've got tons of step-by-step sourdough tutorials and lots of great recipes. Let's get baking. All right, our dough's been sitting for about 15 minutes and I'm gonna start touching it, and look, it's really not sticking too much. That's because we formed a light skin on the surface of the dough. Now we're gonna do our shaping method, and we're using a variation of what's called the caddy clasp, which is a shaping method that was made famous by a baker named Wayne Caddy. So this is his method, but we're sort of modifying it a little bit just to make it easy for the first-time baker. Now, even though we have a light skin formed on the surface of the dough, it's still gonna be a little bit tricky to handle, okay? So I am gonna get my hands a little wet. Now you don't wanna be like pouring water all over your hands, just a light spray, okay? And then we're gonna get in here and we're gonna take this dough, I'm kind of lifting it up a little bit, and it really helps that my hands are wet, okay? That makes a big difference. And then I'm just gonna flip it over. And now I'm gonna take 2 sides and I'm just gonna push them, lift them up and push them together. You see that? And then I'm gonna take the other sides, I'm gonna lift those up and I'm gonna push them together. Now, a dough scraper would make this process a lot easier, but if we're new bakers, we probably don't have one of those. So we're gonna make do with what we have. I'm pinching the edges, and that is it. We've just shaped our dough. Now, you wanna put it in a proofing basket. This is called a banneton basket. If you don't have one of these, you can just use a bowl, but you want to cover the bowl, make sure you line the bowl with a towel, and then liberally flour the towel that's in the bowl. You do not want your dough to stick to the inside of the bowl. That will be a real problem, okay? So if you have a proofing basket, great. If you don't, a bowl lined with a towel, heavily floured so that it doesn't stick. I'm gonna take my dough here and I'm just gonna lift it up and I'm gonna set it right in the proofing basket, just like this. And there you go, my dough is in the proofing basket. It doesn't look pretty, but you know what? If you're brand new, you probably don't have a bench scraper or a dough scraper and you're not used to dealing with sticky dough, and that is okay. Just get it in the proofing basket just like this. We're gonna cover it. Now you can cover it with a light towel. I'm using a disposable plastic shower cap because it's easy. Just know that if you were to cover this with like plastic wrap, it might stick to the dough. So you want to kind of be careful. That's why I like these disposable shower caps, because they kind of puff up a little bit and then they won't stick to the dough. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to take this and we're going to put it in the refrigerator. We are done for today. This is going to sit in the refrigerator for anywhere from 8 to 18 hours. Now, that's actually part of the sourdough process that makes the bread taste a lot better. You're developing flavor. Fermentation is still happening in the fridge. Fermentation is just when the gas bubbles are forming in the dough. That's kind of one of the sourdough things. And then also it makes it so that you can bake the dough on your schedule, right? If you want to bake bread and have it fresh for dinner tomorrow night, you're just going to put this in the refrigerator and take it out and bake it tomorrow. So it's going in the fridge for 8 to 18 hours and then we'll be back. Now I want to hop back on here and show you one other thing that I think will make this process a lot easier for you. I don't want you to have to go out and get a ton of things, but this is a dough scraper or a bench scraper, and it makes this entire process of shaping so much easier because, as you saw earlier, sourdough dough is very, very sticky, okay? And so if you have a dough scraper like this, it actually makes shaping your dough so much easier. See that? It's really going to come together into a much tighter shape if I use this instead of using my hand, okay? So this is almost scraping it off the surface of my work surface so that my dough isn't sticking to it, because I'm using this straight edge here to kind of move the dough around, and that's not allowing it to stick to my work surface. So you can see how much easier it is to get this dough into a nice cohesive shape by using a dough scraper. So this is one of those things that I really recommend everybody use. So that was the first shaping, the pre-shaping. If I were to use my dough scraper and then come back in and do the same shaping method, the caddy class, look at how much easier it is, all because I used my dough scraper. That is the only difference, okay? So you saw how sticky it can be, and now you're seeing how much easier it is with a simple, like, I think this is like a $6 tool. So it's definitely one that's worth it if you're gonna be making sourdough regularly. Now, I showed you before, you can do it without a dough scraper, but it's a lot easier if you have one. All right, I just took my dough out of the refrigerator. It's nice and cold, and I'm not gonna let it come up to room temperature. We're doing this while the dough is cold, okay? Now it's time to score and bake. Now, scoring can make new bakers really nervous, but if you can make a line, you can score your sourdough, okay? That's how easy it is. Now, my Dutch oven has been in my oven preheating at 450 degrees for about 30 to 45 minutes. So this Dutch oven is really, really hot. Now I'm gonna take my dough out of my basket, put it on this parchment paper, we're gonna score it, and then we're gonna bake it. So let me show you how I do that. Here's my parchment paper, and you do need parchment paper. I'm gonna set it right on top of my dough and flip it over. And then I'm just gonna pull this right up. There you go, that's it. And now it's time to score. You have to score your sourdough bread. The steam, the water that's in this bread as we're baking it, that's gonna create steam, that's gonna make the loaf rise up. The steam needs somewhere to escape, okay? So if we don't score the bread, which is just cutting a line in it, then the bread will just kind of burst open. So we definitely wanna score it. You're gonna need a sharp razor blade. This is called a bread lom. It's basically just a fancy stick that this razor blade is on, okay? So if you don't have one of these, just use a really sharp razor blade. You could use a really sharp knife, but it won't work quite as well, okay? So I'm using my really sharp razor blade, and I'm just gonna score. I'm just gonna make one line on the surface of the dough going about a ½ inch deep. And I'm gonna be really quick when I do it, okay? That's it. Now, it was really easy to do because my dough was cold, because I just took it from the refrigerator and it's not warm, it's good and cold. Okay, so now I'm gonna transfer this dough with my parchment paper into my hot Dutch oven. Let me show you how I do that. And you want to be careful because your Dutch oven is going to be really, really hot. It's been sitting in your oven for like 30 or 45 minutes. So you definitely want to make sure you've got some good oven gloves and that you're careful. Okay, pretty easy. I'm going to take my dough and the parchment paper, just lift it up and set it right in my Dutch oven, okay? That's all you got to do. And then you're gonna put the lid back on your Dutch oven and you're gonna bake this for 20 minutes at 450 degrees. If you have the convection setting on your oven, I like to use that. If you don't, that's okay too. So 450 degrees, we're gonna bake it for 20 minutes with the lid on. After the first 20 minutes, we're gonna take the lid off and bake it for about another 20 minutes until it's nice and golden brown. So I'm gonna bake this and I'll see you back here to show you what it looks like. All right, our bread has been baking for 40 minutes in our oven. Let's take it out. We're gonna take it out by the parchment paper. Remember, it's very hot. And look at that. We have a beautiful loaf of sourdough bread. Whoa, that is a loaf you can be proud of for your very first loaf of sourdough. Now, we took it out of the Dutch oven, we took the parchment paper off, and we're gonna put it on a cooling rack. And here comes the hard part. We're gonna let it sit for about an hour before we cut into it. If you cut into your sourdough bread too early, you'll end up with gummy bread. It's actually still baking inside here, so there's a lot of steam, so we don't wanna cut into it just yet. So let it sit for about an hour and then we'll slice into it and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, our bread has been cooling for about an hour and I can't wait anymore. Let's just slice into it. Now, if this is your first sourdough loaf you've ever made and it turns out like this, you should be really excited. Everybody loves fresh sourdough bread and you should be really proud of yourself because it's not an easy process. All right, moment of truth. Let's see how this looks. And there you go. For your first loaf of sourdough bread, this is pretty amazing. I would be really proud to serve this and very happy to eat it. I know sourdough can feel overwhelming when you're just getting started. There are so many little nuances and techniques that people talk about online that it's really easy to feel confused before you even begin. But that's exactly why I wanted to make this video. This is sourdough with training wheels, the super basic version. Nothing complicated, nothing stressful, nothing extra to think about. Just a clear, simple path to help you get that very first win in the kitchen. And once this clicks, then you can move on to the more detailed techniques. I've got a ton of other videos that explain all the little things you can do to make even better sourdough bread. If you want to watch those, I'll put a few of them up here and I'll see you over there.